Welcome back to Studio Chatter. The days of letting our kids play free in the neighborhood may be over. Let's welcome Sgt Cody Harris of the Spanish Fort Police Department to the table.
Hi,
welcome.
Cody.
How are you, ladies?
Thrilled to be here, aren't you?
Yeah, I'd rather be tased.
Really?
Just being honest.
we
this
can
is
do
not
that.
my cup of tea.
I think it is.
I think it'd be great.
I appreciate
How about a
support.
cup of water instead?
You know, if this conversation lulls in about 3 minutes,
Yeah.
just pull the taser out and we'll have Amber get right on that.
Yes.
You know, I'll do it. Whatever passes the time
Okay.
faster.
But really, in all seriousness, we were speaking last time about keeping our kids safe over the summer. There have been some incidents that have occurred as of late that have made us all a little more nervous, made us a little more aware. What can we do to maybe keep a closer eye on our children without making them nervous?
Well, I think it's important that you talk to your kids. I mean, and let them know why you have concerns and why you maybe are setting up boundaries or rules with them. Maybe even have like a buddy system with them. You know, when you go somewhere, you know, always be able to keep your eyes on your children at all times, and have a plan in place. Know where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be done. Have a buddy system, like I said. Just communicate with them and let them know what your plans are. And I think you can have a plan without scaring them.
Sure. Well, I think times have changed a little bit too. You know, it used to be that, you know, we'd just go. And
All
then
day.
you'd just go all day and be back at dusk and you
Sure.
just run the neighborhood. And but I think it is a little more scary. There are certainly, you know, people that are out there that aren't completely safe or maybe don't have the best interest at heart for our kids.
Sure.
And maybe need to be aware of that also. I mean, I know for my own kids, I make them wear the gizmo device with the GPS tracker just so they can text or check in. Or what do you think is maybe a safe boundary if they are in a neighborhood, maybe, you know, 2 blocks, 3 blocks?
It depends on the age, I think. You know,
Yeah,
it may be case by case, but I think knowing where your kids are at all times and having them always communicate with you, hey, I got here safely, this is where I'm going to be. And I know for me, like I have a teenage daughter, I follow up with her. She might tell me I'm going to be here, but I want to make sure because she's got a boyfriend. And we'll talk about that's a whole nother series.
Yeah, that is. Good luck with that.
But you know, for me, I think it all comes down to communication and having a plan, and then you just follow up with them. And I can't say that it's a standard answer to do this or that, but have a plan in place. Let your kids know why you're doing it. It's not necessarily that I don't trust you. I maybe don't trust other people that might be around or
That's a good point.
So, and
That's good.
just be honest with them.
Well, you know, for Utah, it's kind of a free range state, so there's you know you can't watch them all the time, and parents have different parenting ideas or more kids, and you know there's some kids that kind of wander through the neighborhood all day long and go have popsicles at every neighbor's house down the street, and there's some that are very structured and some do have a plan in place, and so I guess it's hard to know, but go ahead.
Sorry, one thing that I've noticed, the times that I've noticed where kids have gotten into trouble or have had a situation that wasn't the best, they're alone. Parents maybe don't know where they're at. They've wandered off. You know, they're not within eyesight of a parent or an adult, or they're not in a group. So my suggestion would be always be in a group. Like I think I mentioned earlier, a buddy system, checking in with your parents. You know, be out when it's light outside, the darker it gets. Maybe time to wander. But always be where someone can see you in a group.
Right.
That would be my suggestion.
Well, there are probably community programs in place too that kids can go and check in. I know that there's like the library programs that they can go into, and structured places that they can be, and sports camps, and probably, you know, church programs where they can check in and be with other children, so they're not wandering off or being alone.
Okay. On a parent's point, what if a parent sees something suspicious? Do they just call 911? Is that the best thing?
If they feel like there's an immediate threat, call 911.
Okay.
There's also a non-emergency number. You can call that. All the time I hear people say, I didn't know if I should call. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we could drive down a neighborhood and we see somebody outside that we don't know if that's his house or not. As far as I'm concerned, he lives there, you know?
Yeah,
and
that's
he could
true.
be someone that's maybe casing the neighborhood or up to no good for whatever
Okay.
reason. You know your neighborhood, you know your neighbors, you know who belongs and who's out of
That's
place.
true.
Call us.
So what is the number? Do you know? Let's have
911.
We'll have Pete put it up on a screen because that might be good because there's been times like I want to call, but I'm like, I don't really want to call 911, but like I kind of want someone to just
I would
drive
say,
by.
if there's ever a question, just call.
Just call.
And
And
you're
can-
never bugging us.
And does it go to dispatch and
Yeah.
then they'll just say, can I talk to someone in
Yep.
Spanish Fork, please? I have.
They'll kind of get a basic information of the
Okay.
reason for your call and what you have going on, and they'll relay that to us, and then we'll either get in contact with you if you want us to,
Okay.
or we'll go and just check out whatever the situation is. But I have no idea. I could drive right past a guy or someone, sorry,
That's
that-
true.
And not know.
and not know what he's doing. That could be his neighborhood.
I was with girlfriends a couple weekends ago, and we were coming out of Zion's National Park, and it was evening, and the car in front of us swerving, almost ran off the road. Finally, the friend in the front seat called and said, hey, we need to report something. And I'm like, I wonder if I would have done that, but her husband's a highway patrol, so she was just like, no,
She's right on
this
it.
needs to be reported.
Well, and sometimes you'll come across people will say, I didn't want to bug anybody
Yes.
or bug you. Or, well, if I go up to you and say, hey, someone called on you, they didn't know if you're in the neighborhood, and you do belong, they love it. They're like, oh, I'm glad you're protecting our neighborhood. And no one seems to really be irritated and
Okay.
bugged.
That's
They-
true.
That's comforting them.
Yeah. So what about putting like a neighborhood watch in place? Do you think that's more of a necessity nowadays?
I just think word of mouth and just everybody's so active nowadays. Just I
Watch
don't know
out for
if-
each other.
Just watch out for each other. And, kids are out playing night games and doing things. And the parents seem to be out with them. A lot of things at the parks. The
Sure.
sports
But then
and
you
stuff.
hear the stories of some guy, keeping somebody in the backyard in the tool shed, and I'm really, and you
No,
think you know
it
your
is.
neighbors,
It's true,
and then
though.
and then those stories come out, and you're like, well, geez, who knew?
It's a different world.
I think we just try to educate our kids and have a plan in place, and always try to be where you can see your kids, check up with your kids. A lot of kids now have cell phones and GPS tracking and things like that. Just always just try to be in contact with them. And for me personally, we always have a plan, and try to educate them. And unfortunately, it's the world we live in that there's
Yeah.
Right.
some
So is the gizmo, is that what you called it?
Yes.
The gizmo?
Yeah.
And
we,
that's
we have the
a
gizmo tracking watch. Mhm.
Okay. And do
I
you
think she
see
gets
that?
10% of every one
Oh,
that
maybe
sells.
that's
She's-
it.
No,
She keeps
no,
saying
I
that.
work in the industry, so I'm kind of a freak show.
But do a lot of kids even have that, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
So you've been to a parent's home, they're like, my child's missing, and you can
They can, yep.
track. But then half the time they probably aren't wearing it because they're kids, right?
And they're kids, and sometimes they misplace it, but that's part of the communication. It's not me trying to track you down because I don't
Okay.
trust you. As it,
And that's the rule. If you don't charge it, you don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
If you wear it, that's the
That would be super
Yeah.
comforting.
Yeah.
Cody, this was good to have you here.
Yeah,
Thank you,
see,
Cody.
that wasn't bad at all, was
I don't
it?
want to make this weird or awkward, but this was painful for me. I feel like you guys owe me a donut.
We'd
can
love
give
to
you
buy
a
you a
donut,
donut.
but we can also
Anytime.
tase you as well. Maybe we'll
now
have
that I
you
did
stick
this,
around.
I don't want to be tased.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank
Please
you.
come back again. Thank you so much. Are you looking for some service opportunities? We'll talk about that next.